The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, the Vedanta, lecture delivered at Lahore on 12th November 1897, Part 1. Two worlds are there in which we live, one the external, the other internal. Human progress has been made from the days of yore, almost in parallel lines along these both worlds. The search began in the external, and man at first wanted to get answers from all the deep problems from outside nature. Man wanted to satisfy his thirst for the beautiful and the sublime from all that surrounded him. He wanted to express himself and all that was within him in the language of the concrete. And the grand indeed were the answers that he got. Most marvelous ideas of God and worship, and most rapturous expressions of the beautiful. Sublime ideas came from the external world indeed, but the other opening out for humanity later laid out before him a universe yet sublimer, yet more beautiful, and infinitely more expansive. In the Karma Kand portion of the Vedas, we find the most wonderful ideas of religion inculcated. We find the most wonderful ideas about an overruling creator, preserver, and destroyer of the universe presented before us in a language that is sometimes most soul stirring. Most of you perhaps remember that most wonderful shloka in the Rig Veda Samhita, where you get the description of chaos, perhaps the sublimest that has been ever attempted yet. In spite of all this, we find it is only a painting of the sublime outside. We find that yet it is the dross that something of matter yet clings on to it. Yet we find that it is only the expression of the infinite in the language of matter, in the language of the finite. It is the infinite of the muscles and not of the mind. It is the infinite of space and not of thought. Therefore, in the second portion of the Jnana Kand, we find there is altogether a different procedure. The first was a search in external nature for the truths of the universe. It was an attempt to get the solution of the deep world problems of life from the material world, whose glory these Himalayas declare. This is a grand idea, but yet it was not grand enough for India. The Indian mind had to fall back, and the research took a different direction altogether. From the external, the search came to the internal. From matter to mind. There arose a cry, when a man dies, what becomes of him? Some says that he exists, other that he is gone. Say, O King of Death, what is the truth? An entirely different procedure we find here. The Indian mind got all that could be had from the external world, but it did not feel satisfied with that. It wanted to search further, to dive into its own soul, and the final answer came. The Upanishads or the Vedanta or the Aranyakas or Rahasya is the name of this portion of the Vedas. Here we find at once that religion has got rid of all external formalities. Here we find at once that spiritual things are told not in the language of matter, but in the language of the spirit. The superfine is the language of the superfine. No more any grossness attached to it. No more is there any compromise with things of worldly concern. Bold, brave, and beyond the conception of the present day stand the giant minds of the stage of the Upanishads, declaring the noblest truths that were ever preached to humanity without any compromise, without any fear. This, my countrymen, I want to lay before you. Even the Jnana Kand of the Vedas is a vast ocean. Many lives are necessary to understand even little of it. Truly has it been said of the Upanishads by Ramanuja that they form the head the shoulders, the crest of the Vedas, and surely enough the Upanishads have become the Bible of modern India. The Hindus have the greatest respect for the Karam Kand of the Vedas, but for all practical purposes, we know that for ages Vaishruti has been meant the Upanishads and the Upanishads alone. We know that all our great philosophers, whether be Vyasa, Patanjali or Gautama, and even the father of all philosophy, the great Kapila himself, whenever they wanted an authority for what they wrote, every one of them found it in the Upanishads and nowhere else, for therein are the truths that remain forever.